as an equipment manufacturer, one of the challenges that I think we have is to help our customers understand how critical it is to maintain gas purity throughout the entire gas system. Now, we may have one of Gabby's beautiful Worthington cylinders that's filled with ultra high purity helium, but if we put the wrong piece of equipment on that cylinder, then we're going to have some contamination issues. We're going to have some purity issues on what's going on downstream. So I think that's one of the big challenges that we have as manufacturers to make sure that our customers understand the whole gas system really has to be designed for specialty gases and for a high purity system. I can remember the days where if you wanted a specialty gas regulator or a specialty gas manifold, you had to go to a store or you had to pick up the phone and make a call, talk with someone, and try to get some specifications as to what they were going to be using it for, what's going on. It's easy today to go on the internet and buy a spec gas regulator, go out there and even buy a high-end changeover system. But the question is, how do you know what you're getting is going to be suitable for the purity of the gas that you're going to be using? So again, we've got to try to educate our customers on what's appropriate equipment to use and what's not for their specialty gas applications. Just because you have a regulator with a CGA 580 connection on it, it doesn't mean that you can use that nitrogen regulator for ultra high purity gas. And it certainly doesn't mean you could use it on a spec gas nitrogen mixture either. And way too often I've walked into an analytical lab and I've looked at the high purity gases that they're using, and I look around and I see that they're using a 30-year-old industrial regulator, that should be in a scrapyard cutting steel, So it's a situation where even manifold systems I've seen that are in use on spec gases shouldn't be used on spec gases. So how do we educate our customers as to what's the appropriate equipment to use and what's the appropriate level of cleanliness and purity that that the equipment needs to match the gas service? Well, number one, regulators and valves that have elastomeric diaphragms, they're just a no-no. You can't use those on high purity gases for the simple reason that the diaphragms are manufactured with a chemical release agent on them, because they're manufactured in mass and they're punched out with dyes, and so you have to they have to be released from the dye. So they're going to use some sort of powder or some sort of chemical on there to get the diaphragm out of the dye during its manufacturing process. Those can't really be adequately cleaned before they go into a regulator. So if you're using a regulator with an elastomeric diaphragm on it for a high purity gas, then it's just going to continue to introduce impurities into the gas stream, and it's going to cause problems in your analytical processes. So that's one of the things that we really look for is, are they using the right regulators? Are they using the right manifold systems? And then what about valves, instrument valves, control valves? They need to be packless diaphragm type valves. A lot of customers are using needle valves, and needle valves are designed with a packing. And so every time you turn the valve stem, you're allowing the processed gas to escape, and you're letting a little bit of the atmospheric air and moisture into that valve. And so it's going to also contaminate the gas system. And again, manifold and changeover systems, they have to be manufactured with components that are clean to CGA standards. Try to remove as much of the hydrocarbons during the manufacturing process as possible. Preferably, they need to be designed with bar stock regulators and bar stock components so that they have low internal volume. You can easily purge these things after every cylinder change out to maintain the purity of the system. So when we're building a gas system, it's just so important to look at everything. Regulators, the manifold systems, the valves, even the fittings, the little pieces parts that are used on those, they need to be properly selected to make sure that the gas stream is not contaminated or affected by the equipment.